Will children of the future be taught solely by a computer? According to Google's Vice President of Research, Alfred Spector, that could be a possibility. And he says this may lead to a future where students do not need to go to school to get a formal education. He suggested that Duolingo, for example, is an app which teaches languages through games. What is Duolingo? Let's find out about this.
Everybody agrees, Duolingo is a great way to learn a language. It's addictive because languages are split into bite-sized skills that feel like games. You lose a life when you get something wrong, and you earn points when you complete a lesson. Duolingo teaches you to read, write, listen, and speak. And it's extremely effective. In fact, an independent study found that 34 hours on Duolingo are equal to a whole university semester. A semester of knowledge that you can fit into your breaks, commutes, and moments spent waiting in line. Duolingo is completely free. No annoying ads, no misleading in-app purchases, no subscription fees. Language free at last.
The founder of Duolingo, Louis von Ahn, says that there are more people actively learning a language through Duolingo than in the entire public school system in the United States, while Time magazine claims that Duolingo may hold the secrets to the future of education. Nevertheless, Duolingo is changing the way people learn languages. The gamification came into place that encourages the users to take a more active approach to learn a language that usually takes months or years. The awards of each challenge acts as a positive reinforcement when the users interact with the stimuli and constantly being awarded through their responses. Such behaviorist approach may be motivating learners at very initial stage. But what about next? Apart from that, does the application know exactly which context to be taught?
When using Duolingo, you sometimes encounter some very strange sentences. Some of these sentences are complete nonsense, but others seem to be a very clear reference to the dark, disturbing side of human nature. Some people say that these sentences are just luck or they result from random word combinations, but I beg to differ. There are far too many of these bizarre, strange translations for it to be simple luck.
The bear gave birth to a duck. The boy eats 23 beetles. Now that's something I just don't want to even imagine. The engineer is in the refrigerator. Now, I'm imagining this engineer in pieces in the refrigerator, so this is getting kind of creepy. I am eating an elephant. Okay. Poaching, eating endangered animals. Do you import people? Human trafficking, that sounds like the way to go. That is not water, it is yellow. Sorry, I'm eating a rabbit. The cat lays the mouse into the milk. What the hell for? The kid eats insects. And this guy just looks so happy about that. A tiger is eating my husband. The wolf eats me. Do animals have blood? Well, yes they do, but we don't usually focus on it unless we have to.
Well, he certainly has some point about it. If a language acquired are not usually applicable in our daily life, it isn't a language lesson anymore. It is like telling others I know how to speak "there's an engineer in my refrigerator" in German. But it makes no sense. However, I do agree that learning apps is indeed influencing the language education. They provide interactive, self-directed supplement learning, but solely after school. Let's see what languages offered by Duolingo. Most of the languages offered are phonetic or semi-phonetic languages, which are relatively easier to learn and acquire. For example, German, French, and Spanish. A phonetic language is a distinct system with a set of alphabets that represents each designated sound. Let's take apple for example. In an English lesson, students are introduced with the spelling of A-P-P-L-E with pronunciation of apple. Same goes to Apfel in German, Manzana in Spanish, and 苹果 in Mandarin. Wait, how do we spell 苹果 in Mandarin? But I'm sorry to say that there is no spelling in Mandarin. Why?
The earliest Chinese characters were based on pictures of things that we come across in our day-to-day lives. Over time, these pictures were refined into the characters we see today. Now, while these pictographic characters may be easy to remember, only about 4% of modern Chinese characters have been created this way. Initially, this limitation was overcome in two ways. One way was to create indicative characters where basic concepts are represented with a small number of simple strokes, such as the characters for 1, 2, and 3, and above and below. The other way was by combining existing characters together to give new meanings. These types of characters are known as associative characters. For example, the character 从 is created by combining one person character behind another person character to convey the meaning to follow. 3 trees here are combined in the character for 森 to mean a forest. Here, the person character is placed next to a tree to convey the idea of resting. And for the character 温, the dish character on the bottom, with the water character on the side, and the sun character on top, conveys the idea of warmth. Water in a dish left in the sun will get warm. As inventive as this method can be, it still only covers about 14% of modern Chinese characters. The great breakthrough in the evolution of Chinese characters came with what is known as the pictophonetic method. Let's say we want to create a character for the word 湖, meaning a lake. We start off by taking an existing character that has the same sound, in this case the character 湖, meaning Mongol or Tartar, 2 of the northern tribes of China. We then add a picture radical to differentiate the character and to convey its meaning. In this case, we add the water radical to the left, and now we have a new character for the word 湖, meaning lake. Using this method, we can also create the character 湖, meaning paste, by adding the rice radical. Paste, in ancient times, often being made from rice flour. And we can add the insect radical to create the character 湖, which means butterfly. This method has been used to create thousands of characters, and in fact, around 80% of modern Chinese characters have been created this way.
Mandarin is a language that is written in code. Mandarin lesson always associate with 3D learning model, with the concept of apple in picture, the pronunciation in pinyin, and then the writing in 苹果, which makes it more difficult to be tailored in apps which don't quite know how to teach. The learning apps I found in the market which teaches Mandarin is either in oral language, for example, social language apps, or written language, for example, 成语猜谜 apps. By saying this, I'm not implying that there will be no productive apps like Duolingo that can offer constructive or 3D language education of Mandarin. What I'm trying to say is, all apps, by all means, cannot replace a formal language education. Acquiring a new language is opening a door to new culture and new ways of thinking. From IB's perspective, the study of additional languages allows students to develop insight into the features, the processes, and craft of language, and the concept of the culture behind it. It allows students to realize that there are diverse ways of living, behaving, and viewing the world. The acquisition of the language can cultivate intercultural awareness and international mindedness, so that in future they become responsible members in global communities. We never know how Japanese respecting elderly without knowing their language in addressing people, nor we know how Chinese preserve their culture without knowing their written language in Mandarin. An app cannot be functioning that way, just by translating some logically correct but without much humanity sense of sentence. learning application can't replace a regular language education. However, a language teacher should be mindful of apps, which can make possible a first entry into learning in class. Above all, it enables the user to learn anytime and anywhere. This is a great benefit. But since no teacher is on the spot, apps can provide only course exercise formats. Free individual oral expression, as well as the rationale behind it, must be taught explicitly by a language teacher. Thank you.